Hey everybody, welcome back to my BakeLikeAPro YouTube channel. In today's really fun video, we're going to make an Oreo chocolate bar using Oreo cookies and some really nice white chocolate. I'm going to start up my scale here, get my cup on. I'm going to tare, which means I'm resetting my scale to 0. I'm using a nice white chocolate in this recipe. This is by the company Calbo, and I'm just going to take a good heaping cup, about that much. I'm just going to get that on there. Usually I try to go for about 175 grams. It doesn't really matter. 172, 173, yeah, 175. I'm going to get that into my bowl. I'm going to put 1/3 of a cup on here. I'm going to tare this, reset it to 0, and I'm going to scoop out 1/3 of the cup. Doesn't have to be accurate. I'll get that on there. 64 grams. We're going to keep this to the side, and now what I'm going to do is, over a double boiler, I'm going to gently melt this part of my white chocolate. So before I stir in the rest of these little pellets, I just wanted to show you what they look like before I stir them. They look like they're hard still, but they're actually soft. So I've got a little bit of water. So I had that simmering on the stove. You do not need to have boiling water. So you get it on there, you melt your chocolate down. Now I'm ready. I can remove this and just work on our chocolate. I want to angle this so you can see it. And watch this, as I just touch it with my spoon, you can see that's fully melted. Now if your chocolate is really warm and you add chocolate to it, it's going to take more to actually cool down this mixture. So if it's really hot, you may want to just let it sit for 10 minutes to cool down. So I'm just going to give this a stir. And then we'll start adding in some of our chocolate that we took out earlier, that 1/3 of a cup. So I've got my 1/3 of a cup. I'm just going to take some of these and just get them in. And then I'm just going to slowly start getting all of these incorporated. Now if I see that this melts extremely fast, I can actually use less tempered chocolate, this chocolate, by adding a little bit of cold underneath my bowl. You see how fast that actually melted? So what I can do, I've got a little ice cube here. I'll get that there. Just get my bowl on top of that. And now, I'll just let that sit. And now that ice cube will start imparting cold into the bottom. Now as you do this, you must continuously stir. Otherwise what will happen is that white chocolate at the bottom, it's going to solidify, and then you're going to go and you're going to say, oh, look at this, I've got chunks in my chocolate. So you want to keep stirring. It's very, very relaxing. I'm just going to stir. If you had no more tempered chocolate like this out of the actual bag, if you continued this process by continuously cooling and turning like this, what would happen is you would actually end up with a tempered chocolate. Because this here, the chocolate isn't that intelligent to know the difference between doing this and tabling, which is where you take the chocolate and pour it out onto a marble slab, which then extracts the heat from the chocolate. The chocolate just enjoys being stirred, a lot of movement going into it while it's cooling, and that's what sets it up and gets all of the, you know, the chocolate working in the way that it should. I do have a video that goes into a lot more detail, how to temper chocolate on my YouTube channel. So I can feel that already going. I'm just going to touch the bottom. It's actually still warm. Cool parts. There are some cool parts, but it's still warm. I'm just going to go around. I'm just going to take a little reading. 44 degrees Celsius. and about 111 Fahrenheit. So now I'm going to remove this. I'm going to add a little bit more. I'll need about another half of what's remaining. And now I'm going to stir this in. So what happens if you went too far with the ice and now you're stirring this and you're saying, uh-oh, my little pellets are no longer melting and now they're all in there. What am I going to do? Do I have to pick every one of them out? No. What you're going to do is you're going to take this and just put it over your simmering water, maybe about 5 seconds, and then pull it off. That's going to give enough heat on the bottom of your bowl to start getting that all together. Or what I do is I use a hairdryer. I'll just shoot my hairdryer on top, about 4 or 5 seconds, and then pull it off and then stir. And you'll stir it up, stir it up, stir it up, and then a little bit more if you need it. And that's a very fast way of getting heat into the chocolate. You don't want to make it too hot, otherwise you're actually going to lose the temper. So what we're doing now with adding that tempered chocolate, the pellets, which are here, putting it in there, we are actually teaching the chocolate that has lost its temper, so the melted chocolate, we are teaching it now to become tempered again. So it's, consider the liquid chocolate, the melted chocolate, as students. They don't really know what they're doing, and they need instruction from the teacher, who is, in this case, the tempered chocolate. So by adding the tempered chocolate in, it starts melting, and all of the crystals that are correctly chemically formed in that tempered chocolate start mixing their way through the untempered chocolate, and it just all comes together and everything becomes tempered. I'm going to give it a nice stir. This is very, very relaxing. I love doing this. And we're down at 98. And that's about 36 Celsius. That's good. I'm going to add in, I'll just add in the rest. I am going to be using this for something else as well. But we are going to be making a really fun chocolate bar with Oreo pieces in it. And when you taste the combination of Oreo cookie pieces with this white chocolate, it is beyond amazing. I love it. And if you're not a big fan of white chocolate, then I always say this to people, you're not eating the right white chocolate. When you get a really good white chocolate, you will become a believer. So you can see here I added quite a bit. And now I'm looking at it and I'm saying, is it gonna completely melt? I'm not worried about it because I can just take my hairdryer and just give it a little zap, impart some heat, and that will do the trick. You can see though that it's slowly melting. If you have a friend in the kitchen, you can take turns. Somebody will go for 3 or 4 minutes and then you switch and give your friend a break. So you can see here it's actually all coming together. And I can feel that the chocolate is getting thicker, which is a good indication that your chocolate is, becoming, at the state of where you want it, that tempered state. Keep stirring, you can see it's almost gone. So what happens if I run out of chocolate? I said, uh-oh, and your chocolate is still, not at the point where you want it. Put this back on top of your ice and keep stirring. And it'll come into temper. We're at 90 degrees right now, which is good. I'll go then Celsius as well, about 32. Working temperature for white chocolate for this brand is anywhere from about 28 to 31, around there. Different brands have different points where they're workable. So it's always good to check with the chocolate. And when you do get a good quality chocolate, they will give you, specific descriptions on, you know, what the working range is for your chocolate. You see that there? Completely melted at this point. So this is ready to go. I'm just mixing it, mixing it. If you've ever seen a professional tempering machine, you'll notice that it has a motor and it constantly turns the chocolate. So once it's in temper, it keeps turning and it keeps the heat at an even uniform heat, you know, around, I don't know, 89 degrees, and it stays like that. So you can keep your chocolate in temper all day long. So that's good. I'm having too much fun here, so I think we should get on with the video. I'm just going to do a very fast temper test, and then I'll come back. I might as well show you this test. So I'm going to first take a reading here. We're at 31. I'm going to go here. It's at 89. I usually like my chocolate a little bit cooler when I do this test, because the warmer the chocolate is, the longer it will take to actually temper on a piece of paper. You never want to cheat. You never want to take your paper and put it into a cold surface, because that defeats the test. So I'm going to take some and just put it on here, just like that. I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to go set my timer for 4 minutes. So timer, 4 minutes, which is going. White chocolate, certain brands will take a little bit longer than a dark chocolate. But it doesn't, you know, for this brand, it's around 4 minutes. Sometimes I can get it 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes to 4 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on that. So I'm just going to pause the film, and then I'll come back when the timer is almost up, and we'll check our chocolate. Okay, so there's our 4 minutes. I'm just going to shut my timer off. And here we're going to look at the chocolate. Now I know you're not going to be able to see this very well. I'll just go into, just so you can see this a little closer. Some of it where it's a little bit thicker, it's starting to form. You can see that it's firming up here. It's forming a little bit of a skin. But right here on the edge, I'm good, because I can see that it's already set up. And I'll just show that. So here's my finger, and then I just touch it like this, turn it over, and you can see there's nothing on my finger. So if you went into here and touched, obviously you're going to see that. Okay, so if your chocolate is not tempered and you touch it, that's what it's going to be. 4 minutes, and it's already starting to set up, so that's good. So what I've done is I've just taken a couple of Oreo cookies. You just want to twist them and then grab a little knife and just remove the cream that's inside. I think I'm just going to use 2 for this 1 bar. So then I just want to chop these up. Now in another video I did an Oreo chocolate bark, and I left the pieces a little bit larger, but since this is a chocolate bar, I want them a little bit more refined, so I'm going to cut them down a little bit smaller. So I'll just cut all these up, and then I'll be back. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to get that into a little bowl, and then I'll come back and we're ready to finish off our recipe. For today's video, I'm using a chocolate mold made by Fat Daddy-O's. I do have a number of their products, and I like them. Not too expensive, and they make really nice products. Once I've used my chocolate mold, I'll wash it off, and then I put it back into the box that it came in. It just keeps it more safe that way. Now at this point, my chocolate has been sitting around. I have given it a few stirs. However, I'm going to check it here, and I'm down to 81.4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, for me, a little bit too cold. So I have my hair dryer. I'm just going to put it on speed number 1, low heat. And I'm just going to get some heat getting onto the chocolate like that. And then I'm just going to stir. If my chocolate was a little bit warmer, then I would just do shorter bursts. 4 to 5 seconds, stop, and then stir it. But since I'm constantly stirring it, I know I'm not damaging the chocolate, so I just want to get it right in there. And yes, I should have a little something underneath so that the bowl doesn't turn. We'll just do that. We'll turn it off. Nice little stir. And then I can just check it and we'll see where we're at. And we're already 83.8. You see how fast that went up? You have to be very careful because if you're putting this over a hot water bath, in a few seconds, it's amazing how much heat you can get into your chocolate. I am going to do that one more time. Get a little more heat going. Now if I was doing a chocolate bark, I wouldn't worry so much about the temperature of the chocolate because it was still fluid enough that we could just, you know, puddle it onto some wax paper or parchment paper or baking paper. But if I'm doing it in a mold, I want to make sure that it flows really well into the corners. So I want it a little bit higher in temperature. If you're just doing something free-flowing, then the cooler temperature is actually working in your favor. We'll just get it like that. Check it again. 84. I think I'm going to go like that. Now since this is a chocolate bar, I don't want the little Oreo pieces showing through the top. You can do that if you want. So if you want to do it that way, you're going to take your Oreo pieces and you're going to just dump them right in here, stir it all, and then pour it in. What I'm going to do, maybe I'll do it two different ways. I'm going to get some on here. This might seem like a lot of work, but if you see how much one of these chocolate bars costs in a store, then you'll be more happy doing it at home. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a tap. And the chocolate could have been a little bit warmer, because I do like it to flow a little bit better than that. That's good. I'm just going to clean that little edge right there. That's good. And then I'm just going to grab the Oreo pieces, and you've got to do this before your chocolate starts setting, otherwise those pieces are just going to, you know, fall right off. Just get them on there. Then I'm just going to take the back of a spoon and I just want to push those in a little bit. Just press those in. I think that's good. So we've got a little bit of chocolate left over. So let's do the other method. I'm going to move that to the side. I'm going to get a little bit of heat into this because it is cooling down. You can already see that heat is making this more liquid. Okay, that's good. 86. I'm going to add a little bit more heat. Okay, and we'll check it again. 88.4, and that's fine. Try to stay away from 90, because as soon as you start getting into 90, 91, then you can actually get your chocolate out of temper. So I'm going to dump all of the rest of those in there and just give it a stir. So you're gonna see that this is going to be a totally different type of chocolate bar. Stir it up well. I don't think we're going to have enough for a full chocolate bar. We might. Let's go for the middle one here. We'll start filling that up. So I'll show you two different ways. Yes, we have enough to do two. So you've got two different ways, and then you can choose the way that you like, or you can try both of them. That's good. I may have put too much in there. If you find it hard getting into the corners, you can just use a little scribe, a little clay tool. This is for clay. And sugar cookie decoration. You can just get it right in the corner. I put a little bit too much right there. Let's give it another tap. I'm just going to clean that off a little bit right there. Perfect. So now we're just going to let these, I'm just going to let them sit like this until they're completely solidified. You can already see on this one here, the edges are already starting to, become a little bit hard. So I'll just let that go and I'll come back in a little while. So I just brought these out of the fridge. I had them in there for 5 minutes. I let them sit for about an hour until they were completely firmed up. Into the fridge for 5 minutes just so that the chocolate contracts. And now, so that they don't break, I just want to put a little cutting board on the top. I'm going to flip it over. You can see how easily that first one popped out. And there we go, there's our second one. When they pop out that easily, you know you did a good job tempering. And there we have them. Oh, those look neat. You can see that we have two very different textures on the top, and look. Let me zoom in. Now that I've zoomed in, you can see that the appearance is very, very different. So this is the one where we mix the Oreo cookie, little pieces into the actual white chocolate, and then here's the one where we poured the white chocolate first and then added the little pieces to it at the end. So two very different looks. So it really depends on what your personal preference is. Some people might like this one, some people might like this one. So that's it for this really fast and fun tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do love working with chocolate. I find it really fun and relaxing. So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. And if you're over on Facebook, check me out. Facebook.com/BakeLikeAPro. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time.